Hi, everyone. This week, we're bringing back the crossover episode from Show Me Your Tech Stack since we got great feedback from the first one. This week, we're bringing CJ DeGuara, who is in charge of e-commerce at EBOOST, a healthy energy choice for those looking to fuel their busy days. CJ and I are both passionate about building customer-centric businesses, and in this episode, we dive into the merits of different e-commerce tools, marketing strategies we've used to get to the next level, and how to combat the ROI problem that so many marketers are facing these days. So hope you enjoy this next installment of Show Me Your Tech Stack and the Conversion Crossover Show. Take care. Welcome to Show Me Your Tech Stack. We're learning what technologies the leading brands are using to achieve conversion excellence. I'm your host, Erik Christensen, CEO and co-founder of Just Uno. And today I'm joined by CJ DeGuara. CJ is the marketing strategist with consulting and hands-on experience in the US and international markets, currently responsible for e-commerce at EBOOST. It's an all-natural, healthy energy alternative for those looking to fuel busy days in a clean way. I might also add, they've been a Just Uno customer since 2019. So welcome to the show, CJ.
Thank you for having me, Erik. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. Absolutely love Just Uno and your team. Very supportive, especially in terms of designs. I have a thing with coming up with different ideas, so to speak, of what we want to do to improve the customer experience. And I'm sure I drive your team crazy sometimes, but they are absolutely awesome. And I'm looking forward to our conversation here today.
Well, thank you. And for me, connecting with our own customers it's everything. I know we share a customer-centric philosophy in our approach to business. So with that, I'd kind of like to start with just jump into it and share a personal customer experience that I just 45 minutes ago experienced. So talking MarTech, talking technology on site, I notice you promote a store locator on your site. So this morning I went to eBoost and 45 minutes later I'm holding this delicious drink. Can we start off by let's do a little product placement here. Can you share just a little bit about eBoost and what am I drinking here? The eBoost Super Fuel?
You are indeed. So basically the philosophy at eBoost, and even from its conception a little over 10 years ago now, is having the products like energy drinks, for example, that you're drinking anyway, but with no compromises. So for example, some major differences between Super Fuel and most other energy drinks on the market, especially in the low calorie category, we use natural ingredients, even caffeine. One thing that most people don't realize is a lot of caffeine in energy drinks is synthetic. We only use natural sources. The other thing is there's more in Super Fuel than what you would expect in most energy drinks, because the aim is to support your overall energy levels as opposed to giving you that really quick peak. It's more to give you that steady energy, which is why there's 10 vitamins, there's 3 nootropics in there, you've got minerals, antioxidants as well. So rather than maybe other mixes where you would see a high caffeine content with guarana or so on, right? The focus is on how do we support you for that longer, as opposed to, it's still got a nice buzz, like a nice caffeine buzz.
Well, I see you have it's green coffee seed, so plus green tea for the caffeine. So well, thanks for the breakdown. So, and it's refreshing, and I definitely need it today. Let's talk about the realities of business and the realities of technology and customer experience. So, and this will be our first, because analyzing your site, I see you're using reviews with Yotpo, and we'll get into the different technologies you're leveraging. So let's start with the store locator. I noticed there was a message bar up top. I looked at home and I looked. So when I was on my desktop, I looked at, there's 2 locations right by me. So I first went to the nicer one in Jonico's Market. And I went there, I walked the whole store, and I couldn't find it. So I asked, I looked, so, okay. So I guess, interesting. I wonder how that technology works. So then I used my phone to go to your website, and right up top was a banner asking, what does it say? It said,
"Can't wait, use our store locator."
Yes. So I clicked that. I went on it. I had to use 2 fingers to move the map, and the CVS had it. So then, which was just right down the way. So I went to the CVS, and there were 2 left. I got the last 2. So the store locator did work. So that's your shelf.
In all fairness, that CVS seems to be low on everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do notice they are doing a 2-for-1. So your promotion of, buy one, get the second half off. I want to try 2 flavors. I bought 2. I bought the last 2 on the shelf. Popular product, selling out. So that was my online to offline experience, which is really unique. So can you educate us a little bit of how that store locator software works?
So basically, in fact, we're looking at upgrading it at the moment because we've expanded into Walmart, CVS nationwide. Basically, we're becoming a lot more available in more retail locations, Wegmans, Publix, down here in Florida, Atlanta, etc. But
yeah, I should say I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, just north of it in Marin.
So it actually integrates with our stock system. What happens sometimes is that maybe a store didn't bring them from the back to their shelves yet. So that for us is very hard to track. But it actually does tie in to our retailers' stock levels. So what happened to you should not happen in theory. But as we know with technology, sometimes you get real life situations where either it's in stock in the back, or for some reason there was a delay in delivery because we work on anticipated, basically minimum stock levels. And if there's a slight delay in delivery, that could happen where it's not on the shelf yet because it hasn't arrived at the store, because we calculate basically from shipping date in relation to those stock levels.
This is the second day in a row I've heard shipping apps, shipping technology coming, it's such a critical component. And there's a lot of, when it comes to conversion optimization, shipping is the #1 reason people don't check out. Either it's too expensive, or it takes too long, or they're just the retailer doesn't communicate when that product is going to arrive. And we're talking inventory, shipping, that whole back office life is so critical. And one reason I got out of retail, I never want to see inventory again. We were running a 100,000 square foot warehouse. And with that is, I was talking yesterday with Dan about growth marketing. It's critical to understand the entire business all the way through, because that's affecting your ability to market on the front end of the site. Mm-hmm. And it's tied into a whole other world that most people don't understand or don't see. But if you respect it and understand it, you can make your product better on the front end.
Indeed. In fact, one of the things we use, so basically you were talking about that experience, right, for the customer. So part of our tech stack is Klaviyo alongside Yotpo. But then we use Aftership and tie into as well our warehouse providers services. But one thing we've done over at EBOOST is we'll actually notify the customer at different stages of the delivery process. Just a quick email, nothing crazy. We don't want to drive them wild, but we understand that kind of stress of not knowing when something is going to arrive and so on. So we actually update like when it ships, a little, not at the same level as Amazon, if you like, right? We're not tracking to your door. You're not going to see the driver and he's four stops away, which I think is okay for our kind of product. But the other thing we do is once you've received the product, once we get that delivered notification, we wait 24 hours and actually send an email or text message, depending on the contact information we have for the client. Like, are you happy with the product? Like, did it arrive in good order? Because a lot of people, like, they'll maybe receive maybe 2 cans damaged or something. They might not be the type of person to voice it, but you know that you haven't given them the right customer experience. It's not something you can control. These things happen in shipping. We take our time, like with packaging and padding and everything. But how do I make sure that it's really easy for the customer to voice a concern immediately so that we can make it right? And that's built into what we're doing.
So that kind of leads in. I have 3 follow-up questions here. Specifically, you mentioned you're looking at potential new store locator software. Can you tell us what you're currently using and what you're looking at?
Okay, so
I don't know of any. Is it just a plugin from?
I'll be honest with you. The initial setup for the store locator wasn't something I was on, so I'll get back to you a bit towards the end.
Cool, no worries.
And then we'll basically, I know that we're looking at a few new ones, but we haven't settled. What we've decided is that we want to improve it and we know what we want. We're at that stage.
Yeah.
And now we're about to go hunting to see,
All right,
read other people's reviews, etc., to kind of decide on the one that would be the best fit.
You know, it's crazy. I don't know of any. This is interesting.
Okay, here we go. See, store locator by Store Mapper is what we're using at the moment. So okay. Store Mapper. Okay. And we might still use them. It might just be we're not, fully leveraging their system, which I think happens to a lot of us in terms of maybe when we set it up the first time. Set something up the first time. That's like with Justuno. Every time like we dig deeper, we find, oh, there's this new functionality or this old one that we didn't realize was there. And now we can leverage it.
It's the 10% rule. Most people just use 10% of software and they may use a different 10%. I will say my experience was fine. I thought the UI was great. And the follow-up to that is I was wondering how many people like myself use that feature. Are you able to track, you have it featured in your top banner. Is there any sort of attribution to how many people are actually using that? I mean, how would you?
We do track it through the analytics. I would say about 15%, especially since we put the banner towards the top. Pretty much major places where purchased is either in store, especially for energy drinks, right? But normally before you're buying a case, unless it's kind of like ours where there's something special about it in a sense, right? It's not really comparative to every other energy drink. So you might buy it online even the first time. But normally it's more you went to your store or you went to a gas station, you tasted it, you liked it, and then you're like, I'm going to stock up. So the store locator is...
I'm looking for your domain on here.
Well, if you type in EBOOST, we're going to come up first.
Yeah, you will.
We can actually.
I'm just, I'm just checking to see. There it is, eboost.com. Okay. So I think we've beaten up the store locator. That kind of moves into subscription. I noticed you were offering the subscription, buy one time or subscription. I'm really curious to learn more about how your approach and how that's going for you and what software you're using.
So one thing we've actually noticed is people are slowly moving away from subscription. We use Recharge, great platform nice and easy, and it integrates well with Shopify. But one thing we've also noticed is people aren't as into subscriptions. We went through a really strong period of the subscription economy. I'm not talking about SaaS, I'm talking more like food products and so on at the moment. People seem to have moved away a bit from that. I don't know whether it was the whole stint with COVID that did that. I'm not 100% certain. But what we found is working interestingly well is Repeat.io. So we'll give you sort of the same offer in a sense, but instead we're sending you a reminder. So we're inviting you, by the way, you're probably running low on stock. Would you like to top up? It's commitment without the commitment kind of thing. You sign up for the reminders. If you just click yes, we'll go ahead and process an order really quickly for you. But it's less commitment than, hey, I'm going to sign up for this, leave my credit card details there and forget about it.
All right. So that's an interesting recon there. And did you say it's repeat.io?
Yes.
It's not, for some reason, it's not coming up for me. repeat.io?
I think so. Give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Repeat.ai.
So as you look that up, it's so interesting because I'm trying to understand the subscription world because I'm hearing a lot of mixed things. Is it, people are starting to get subscription burnout. You're starting to see companies pop up. I saw a commercial yesterday of like, we'll manage your subscription for you essentially in one place because people have so many now that they forget about them, and it's just is pinging their credit card. So people are kind of hesitant to add any more repeatable purchases on their card. The other is you have like wine clubs. They've been the longest standing kind of product of that, and I'd be curious what the lifetime value is for them. But in average, it sounds like, what I'm hearing is the subscription model is the lifetime value isn't necessarily there.
It depends. I mean, we've got customers that have been with us a long time. They've gotten used to that subscription model, especially on our super powders and our pre-workout products, where they've gotten used. They know they love our product. We've got customers that have been with us for 9 years.
Wow.
Just like so for them, yes, I mean, we're not going to remove that subscription ability, but as new customers come in, we're seeing a good client lifetime value, but we're at the same time, how would I put it? They're not subscribing, but they're still buying monthly. So we're happy with that, but I think there's just that aversion to being tied in as much as they used to be. And it's getrepeat.io.
Oh,
so
yeah. All these domain names. Man.
They put a get inside. I'm guessing someone took their domain and then they kind of.
So many of those. You're like, dude, come on. I just want to find your site. I'll know their name and I still can't get it. Just like this. The buy again button for cool. This is a company I've never heard of. I'm definitely going to add them to the list to check out. Our goal, what we're working to do is really create a consortium of technologies within the marketing stack that help digital marketers achieve conversion excellence. Like, what are these friendly other apps that we want to introduce and make sure are working together, with Justuno. So this is a win right here. Great. So, okay. The question is this subscription model like the way I view affiliate marketing? Everyone thinks it's this end all be all. It's how you're it's like incredible. But when you actually dig in and look at the reality is that the numbers may not be as exciting as what everyone's hearing, but we'll see.
I think it depends on the industry and also more specifically the product. As I was saying, like for Superfuel, maybe, but there's also that kind of omni-channel purchasing, which I think COVID created as well, where you want to be able to buy it from the supplier's website or from a platform like Walmart or Amazon, but then you might also just pick it up at the store because you were there and you're like, okay, I'll take a case of that along with my other shopping, but then you're tied into that subscription.
So are there any other similar apps to GetRepeat.io that I may not see on your site here, besides the obvious?
Not particularly. One thing I'm very interested in, and you did a webinar about it recently, but is kind of that first party data and maybe even identity resolution solutions, which you and I both love ensuring that the customer is getting an excellent experience, right? We're very customer centric, and there's kind of a balance between the data that you should and should not have on a customer in a sense, right? And I think that's something that we're definitely looking into, but at a level where it's there to improve the customer's experience as opposed to invading privacy, if you like, would be, I think there's a very delicate balance there.
How do you make it easier? As we talk about, you as a digital marketer, your goal is to get the consumer with your website to check out, either lead capture to sales conversion, not to abandon their cart, to add more items to the cart for the AOV, and ideally, pick up some zero first party data, all encompassing a positive customer experience. And, one thing I loved was your cart. It reminded me of Chubby's cart, where you have the slide out and then you have add the sample pack. To me, that was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that's cool.
And it's free. So it's a nice little extra with their order. I think it adds to the experience. Like, coming back to the identity resolution side as an example, right? With identity resolution software, theoretically, if you give me your email address, I can probably get your phone number.
Yep.
It's those things that are still kind of, I think what Apple did with reducing our tracking ability, it's forced marketers to start thinking about those kind of solutions at more the SMB level, where before it was something only for maybe mortgage lenders, credit card companies, and so on. And I'm not sure where that takes us. Like, how does my customer feel, right? If we were in a retail environment and you came into my store 3 times, the 4th time you come in, I should know you. But how creepy would it be if you went into a niche shop that you're not signed into and they went, hi, X name. And it's really finding that balance where also you don't make the customer feel uncomfortable. I think I'll pass over to you on that thought.
Well, the iOS change has been the underlying pin with a lot of conversations with retailers I'm having. It impacted a lot of businesses and how they operate. It impacted revenue across the board. One question I have is, how this iOS changes impacted the tools that you use, or how you're using them, or have you turned some off? Have you added some to address this iOS change?
I think the biggest side would definitely be ensuring that we've got that first party data. The other thing is also, as we're talking about, right, is identity resolution software something to consider, or do we need to respect customers' privacy? I think those are the challenges in terms of adapting to this new world, because you want to give that tailored experience, right, to your customer. You want to recommend the product that's actually going to be a great fit to them, which kind of is the same with ads. And I think that really the way we're moving is due to those changes, because we need to be able to give you a great experience, introduce you to our different offerings, but striking that neat balance. And that is causing a change in app stacks.
With your first party data that you are collecting as visitors on your site, where are you passing that? What apps are you, if you're comfortable kind of talking about that, how are you leveraging that first party data? I know that mailers have become very popular. Technologies come and go like this. Like email was getting beaten down when social was on the big rise. Everyone's like, oh, email's dead. And then guess what? Email came back. Just like, mail, I'm getting postcards left and right now in the mail. I'm sure, everyone is, because it turns out it still works.
I remember when, if you were my friend, I could see your email address. Actually, at one point, if you were connected to my page, I could. And also, if I had a Facebook page, if I posted something, I knew it would reach you. Times definitely change. I think in terms of what we're using in our tech stack and so on, I would say I'll keep it to Klaviyo. We do have some other tools in there that we're using, but we're still early on them. So Shopify Audiences is really interesting. That came out about couple of months ago, not even. And I think if I had to mention probably one of the most underused tools in Shopify is Shopify Flow, which I really love. I think too many people, there are a lot of apps everywhere, but Shopify Flow is really, really powerful with regards to what you can do with your customer data, tagging them correctly based on what they're doing on your website, what products they're buying, how frequently they've bought it. I do recommend, before you start looking everywhere else, have a look at maybe what Shopify Flow can do for you internally, especially if you then pair it with something as cool as Justuno for that experience on the site. The other thing, obviously, there's adapting the site depending on who's coming over, right? Optimizing the pages accordingly. But what I found is, in many cases, Justuno is a really good tool for that without necessarily needing to go too far in terms of how you're optimizing what the customer is seeing when they visit your site, right? Changing it depending on where they're coming from and so on, or creating a bunch of landing pages. I find that, especially as you've added more functionality into Justuno, it's a great tool to give that great customer journey when they're coming in. And, if they're already a customer, maybe you're giving them a different offer. If they're new, there's an entry offer. I really like that side of your product.
With marketing, there's only so much time and resources in the day. And, there's a million things we can always do. And, even looking at, starting from the very top of looking at just the basics of where your traffic's coming from, speaking to that international audience, because their experience is different. You forget the currencies they use. Shipping is a completely different experience for them, dealing with tariffs, dealing with, that entire experience. When it comes to, mentioning Shopify, are you, which Shopify platform are you on? You Plus? Shopify Plus. When it comes to checkout, are you leveraging the Shopify Pay?
We do, yes. It is used, not as much as I would have expected, to be honest, but it is definitely part of our stack and an option.
I'm going through your checkout, trying to see it there. Speaking of time and resources, one question I actually love to ask my own team is one that really evokes how to get to the bottom of solving problems within our own operation, as we're trying to align and cut out duplicity and really be efficient and focused. In your average day, what's something that really holds you back from achieving your goals? Like something that you're like, at the end of the day, you're sitting around the dinner table and you're just bitching about. That's not the right word. You're like, internally, you're like, what the hell? Like, why? It can be anything from like leadership not buying in on something. It can be broken software or bad software. What stores being out of stock when it says it's in stock.
Look, here at EBOOST, everything's always perfect. Nothing ever goes wrong. We're always at optimal efficiency and effectiveness. Now, that being said, I'll dig into my past for a moment here. I think some of the most time-consuming things can be reporting sometimes, especially if you're reporting on the wrong data. A lot of time might be spent, figuring out what is really critical to report on, and the other is troubleshooting. I think those are probably the two things that, when you have an app connection and it breaks down and you're trying to figure out what's caused this and so on, there's a lot of time. So if you can find me a tool that will kind of come in and do an immediate diagnosis and find where a particular problem is, like an AI engine that can kind of go in and identify where the exact problem is or the optimization point is. Because I think I live by 3 letters: effort, efficiency, effectiveness. And I think that it's that effectiveness part when you can be putting in all the effort, running as efficiently as possible, but if you're running in the wrong direction, you've just wasted all your time. So I like to kind of look at those 3 as a balance. And the things that frustrate me is if I'm working on something like tracking a particular number that really didn't need to be tracked in the first place, but I'm spending not a crazy amount, I'm spending maybe 10 minutes a week on it, but it's 10 minutes that didn't need to be put into tracking that particular number. And when you're tracking an hour line, right, you're tracking all these different data points. You might have 30 or 40 things that you're tracking. They're taking 10 minutes a week, but they add up.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, which ones of these are not as critical and they're keeping my eye off the one that is?
You just threw out a lot of good stuff there. And, the analysis paralysis kills businesses. The effort, efficiency, effectiveness, like for us, when similar to that, we say, let's work smarter, not harder. Similar concepts there. The lost time, that's something I'm going to talk with Travis further about. As we talk about conversion excellence, site speed, very important to conversion optimization. And, Justuno being an on-site tool, we often are right in the forefront of, the finger of like, you're affecting my site. We load a synchronous, we don't affect site speed, but we have to go in oftentimes and prove it's not Justuno, and our tech team will go in and actually find the culprits for clients, which, it's just one of those things we do for customers, being customer-centric. We want to solve it for them. We don't want to just say it's not us. We go in and solve it, but it takes time. And the other is, what should I report on? That's one we've heard recently of, they know they should be doing, people need guidance when it comes to conversion optimization. Like, what really matters to show growth is the key thing. Because at the end of the day, our job is to increase sales. And oftentimes there's quick wins we can do, but then there's long tail things we can be doing. But at the end of the day, we only have so much time, so many resources. Where should it be? And the last thing we want to do is spend it working on an analysis report of something that probably our gut is already telling us.
Agreed.
Well, we're hitting our 30-minute mark. And, one thing, I'm already going to be running to my team with a few things here to be checking out. A couple apps. One thing we like to do is kind of turn it around. I know you do a lot, you do a lot of interviews yourself and you talk with people. If we flip the coin here and you were the host and I'm the next guest, What would be a question you might like to ask our next guest that I'm going to ask them this question? It's going to come from
the next guest, not
Yes.
you. Okay, I see how
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
making me a problem for the next guest, not for yourself. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. I think, and this is a question I like to ask in general. If you could only do one thing in the next 30 days, that will take you maybe 5 to 10 hours, what would it be to improve your sales, to improve whatever their specific role is, right? What they're trying to achieve, maybe customer experience, maybe, but if you only had 5 to 10 hours that you could work in the next month, you're going to be on holiday the rest of them, enjoying your snowboarding or surfing or whatever you enjoy, just 5 to 10 hours. Where would you allocate your time?
I like it. Goals, achievable goals. You know, with that, if you have a few more minutes, just to finish off our tech stack conversation, because we obviously didn't get to everything.
No.
Are there any favorites on your site right now that we may have missed? I noticed you're using reviews. Looks like Yotpo.
Yotpo is great. We also use SMS Bump by Yotpo.
Yeah, we're working with them. They acquired them like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yep. Gorgeous is great for managing customer experience and customer care.
They're a great team to work with.
I think though, if I had to like give a takeaway, and maybe this is just me, definitely look at what Shopify Flow can do. It's already in your stack.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned it before, but
no,
the amount of customizations we've been able to do by using Shopify Flow and then tying with tools like Justuno and Klaviyo, just because of the ability to tag like specific actions that maybe you might not be able to track through something like Klaviyo, but you can send the data to it. To me, that would be my takeaway, I guess, part of the tech stack that is underused and could be very useful to people.
You heard it here. Show me your tech stack. 5 to 10 hours in the next month. Spend it studying, implementing Shopify Flow.
All right.
How's that sound?
Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, thank you, CJ. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for the drink. I'm actually feeling better today. Super dehydrated. It's 100 degrees out here right now.
If you're going for a hard workout, try pre-workout.
Pre-workout.
Your muscles are sore. We've got Rescue, which is watermelon recovery.
I'm a mountain biker and surfer, and I sweat a lot. So the recovery is what I want to.
It's BCAA. It tastes great too. Like
I would have gotten one, but they were all sold out. It's too popular.
Tell you what, I'll see if I can get you one in return for the product placement.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, CJ. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.